Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We wanted to give a couple extra minutes because we still had a number of attendees still joining us. And we were just working out some technical difficulties on our end. I hope everyone can hear me okay. If you can't, go ahead and put a question in that you cannot hear me. And we'll kind of figure out what's going on. This is the first time that the Office of Financial Aid has done a live webinar. So we're learning at the same time, and hopefully we get through it okay. I want to introduce myself, and I will just turn my camera on real quick so that you can see that we are a live group. My name is Stephanie Petch. I am the Assistant Director in the Office of Financial Aid on campus, and I am broadcasting from my bedroom. So you all see what I sleep in, I guess. But I just want you to know that I am here to answer all your questions to go through the webinar. I have every single one of our financial aid advisors also on the back end that are helping, asking all of your questions. The way the format is going to go, I'm going to shut my camera off now, but then we'll continue. The way the format is going to be is we've got about 15 canned questions that a lot of students have been asking us via email and calling into our call center. So we want to get those questions out of the way just so that you guys can have answers to those. The questions are up and running. So if you have questions right now that you want to ask, you can go ahead and submit those questions. And Bill Casidlo will route those to the advisors. Bill, if you just want to say hi so everyone can hear you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks a lot for joining. We are excited to have everybody. We keep seeing people join the group, and that's even more exciting for us. So like Steph said, this is the first time we're doing this, so we hope that you're going to be patient with us as we kind of navigate these waters here. So yeah, be sure to ask any questions along the way. As Steph also mentioned, we've got our advising staff sitting in the background waiting to answer your questions in real time. So anything that we see is kind of like we're getting a lot of the same question, we'll kind of hold off on that one to have Steph answer at the end so that everyone can hear the answer to that. So, but looks like the questions are already starting to come in, Steph, but we'll go ahead and hand it back to you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Bill. I just do want to let you know, I just want to say by name, we've got Andy, our advisors, Andy, David, Jen, Jay, are answering. And then we've got our Service EMU advisors. So if any of you have been to Service EMU, we've got Kristen and T that are also answering questions. And we have a couple of staff on vacation today, so they're not with us, but we'll go ahead and get started with the questions. So again, these are frequently asked questions from our inbox, our email, Service EMU email, and our call center. Let's see. There we go. So the first question is, how can I submit my documents? So it was a concern for everyone because our on-campus facility was closed and the university isn't open. People wanted to know, well, how can I submit my documents? So a lot of our verification documents can now be submitted online through your eMish account. So the dependent verification worksheet, you can attach tax returns to that. Special circumstance appeals, those can all be submitted online. However, if there are documents that you want to submit that cannot be submitted online, you can fax them to our office at 487-4281, or you can email them at financial_aid@emish.edu, or you can mail them to Pierce Hall. I know that some people have been having a problem finding fax machines. But like in my city, like one of our grocery stores has a fax machine in their like their customer service desk that some people are using. So You can always take a picture of documents and send them, or just email them. We do have one staff member that is going into our office, I think twice a week, and she's picking up mail and scanning it and getting everything taken care of for the documents that are coming in via email. So these are the options to submit your documents. Another big question that we were receiving is what are your hours? Our hours are still pretty normal. We answer our phones from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday at 734-487-0455. So our phone lines are still being answered. There has been no delay, no type of cutoff in the phone system. If you don't want to call us by phone, or if it's after 5 o'clock, you can also email us at financial_aid@emich.edu. And those emails generally get answered within a day. We've got the rest of our service EMU staff, so Sue, Cindy, Tammy, I hope I didn't forget anyone, but they are answering all of our questions that come into our general financial aid inbox. And we are getting a turnaround really quick on those. So if you have questions that you want to email, just email. The next question is, how do I view and complete my Office of Financial Aid requirements? So if you were selected for verification and you want to know if you were selected for verification, or if we're asking for additional information from you, you can check your outstanding requirements by logging into your EMich account, and you follow the steps below. So you click on the student tab, and then you go to financial aid, eligibility, select the financial aid year. And when you're selecting the financial aid year, keep in mind that if you're looking for something for the summer semester, that age year is the 1920 year. So summer is 1920. If this is for the upcoming fall, that's the 2021 age year. So make sure that you're selecting the right age year depending on the semester that you're looking for information. But once you've got that done, you go to student requirements, and your requirements will be listed out there. When you do view your requirements, we usually have a link right to the form that we're requesting from you. So if you click on the form, it will take you to the link, and it will either take you to the online form, or it will take you to our forms that are available on our website. We try and make it as easy as possible for you. But sometimes people still have questions, and you can always email us at the general financial aid email address. Another question that we were getting a lot is, do I have enough aid to cover my bill? And this was mostly applying to incoming students, so for the 2021 year. But sometimes students ask it for summer too. And the answer to that question really is, it depends. It depends on how much aid you were awarded. Whenever you get a bill through Student Business Services, your financial aid will show up. If it hasn't paid yet for the term, it will show up as authorized aid on your bill. If it shows up as authorized aid, that means that if we paid the bill on that day, this is how much financial aid would pay to your billing account. If you have enough in that authorized aid amount to cover your bill, then yes, you have enough to cover your bill. So if the authorized aid is either more than or equal to what your bill is, then you've got enough. If your authorized aid is 0 or nothing shows up, that means that your financial aid is not ready to pay, and we are probably requesting some additional documents from you. So when you get your bill for the fall, let's just say it's for the fall, because summer bill has already, they've already sent those out. But if you get your bill for the fall and you don't see any authorized aid on there, but you're expecting financial aid, you need to log into your EMich account and see what's going on. So if nothing shows up, that means at this time, if we went to pay your bill on that day, no financial aid would be paying. So you've got to look into that. If you have been packaged with financial aid, but you haven't registered yet, and you kind of want to get an idea of how much your tuition and fees will be based, on what you think, like, okay, I don't want to register and then get a bill and then find out I don't have enough financial aid. There is a tuition and fees calculator, and you can get to that through our website. It's managed by Student Business Services, but you can link to it from our website. And just like a final reminder with your bill, that if you were selected for verification and verification has not been completed yet, your financial aid is not finalized, because financial aid can change up until that verification is completed. So if you're selected for verification, if we're asking for documents for you to turn in, make sure you get those into our office as soon as possible so that you can verify your file and you can, know how much financial aid you have coming in for the fall semester.
Steph, can I, before we jump into the next slide, I just kind of wanted to give a little update on these Q&As, or the questions that are coming in. They're coming in fast and furious. Thank you guys so much for that. And we're trying to put out as many as we can to our advisors that are on staff right now. But what I did is I flagged several of the questions. We seem to be getting a lot about the EMU CARES grant. So if you don't get an immediate response about those questions right away, you guys, then we'll kind of touch on that at the conclusion of Steph's presentation here. So just keep sending those questions in. They're great ones, and we'll do our best to get a reply to you. Okay, just hang in there.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bill. Yep. And ironically, the CARES grant was the next slide that we have going on here. So how do I know if I qualify for the CARES grant? And if you don't know what the CARES grant is, this was a grant that the university is awarding students who are enrolled in summer classes, and as a way to assist with summer charges due to COVID-19. So we know a lot of people are in different financial situations, but we are awarding this to students. There are some criteria. So generally, anyone who is enrolled in the summer course and has a FAFSA on file will qualify for the CARES grant. And remember, the CARES grant is $500 if you're enrolled in 3 credit hours. Yeah, 3 credit hours, $1,000 if you're enrolled in 6 credit hours. However, there is a group of students that currently do not qualify for the CARES grant. And I just want to make this really clear. They may not qualify, like international students, that's one group that does not qualify for the CARES grant. I think there is something in the works for international students that I've heard there is something in the works, so kind of stay tuned for that if you're an international student. If you are enrolled in an all online program, such as the RN to BSN program, there's like a general ed program. If you are enrolled in one of those programs, you also do not qualify for the CARES grant. If you're enrolled in one of those programs because you have a special rate on your tuition. The RN to BSN and some other programs that the university offers, they have a flat rate for their tuition and they don't get charged certain fees. And if you're in that program, if you're in that program, but you do not qualify for the CARES grant simply because you are receiving a special rate on your tuition right now as it is. Right now the university has decided to not include you for the CARES grant eligibility. And if you are a current student, so if you were current for the winter semester and you were enrolled in summer, that the CARES grant is being applied to your account twice a week. So it goes through Student Business Services if you're a current student. If you're a new student for the summer, the Office of Financial Aid puts that on your awards system through the Financial Aid Office. And we do that, again, twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Both offices will look for eligible students for the CARES grant, and they will pay them. Another big question we have is, will I have a refund? And we're just gonna say this will be for fall semester. Will I have a refund for fall semester? And that depends. It's always one of our favorite answers, right? If your authorized aid exceeds your bill amount, then yes, you will have a refund. If your authorized aid does not exceed your bill amount, then no. And if you thought you were going to get a refund, you need to go and review your financial aid awards, make sure that you've accepted everything, make sure you've completed your master promissory note and entrance counseling. And if you can't figure out what is wrong, then you absolutely need to contact our office so that we can look at your account and tell you what your next steps are. But not everyone will get a refund. Does financial aid cover the summer semester? Financial aid can be applied to summer charges, but one thing you have to consider is if you attended fall and winter semester, did you use your yearly loan amount already during the fall and winter semesters? If you used your yearly amount, then we don't have additional loan amount to award you for summer semester. If you have additional loan amount, you do have to be enrolled at least half time. So are you going to be enrolled half time, or are you only going to be in 1 credit hour? And did you submit a summer financial aid application? We do have a summer financial aid application on our main website, so emish.edu/finaid. And all you have to do is just go in there, fill it out, submit it, and we will look at your awards and package you with whatever eligibility you have left for the summer term. We don't just automatically package students with financial aid for the summer, especially if you're a continuing student. You have to tell us that you want financial aid for the summer semester. So you've got financial aid for the summer semester. Why isn't my loan paying? The most common reason that a loan doesn't pay is because of your enrollment. You do, as I said, you do have to be enrolled at least half time. So for a graduate student, that's 4 hours, and for an undergraduate, that's 6 hours. Another reason could be you didn't complete your master promissory note, or you didn't complete entrance counseling. So make sure that you've got those things completed, and your loan should be paying. If you're enrolled in a certain number of credit hours and you've taken care of everything for that loan, it should pay. If not, you just need to give us reach out to us either by phone or email. Another one, how do I accept my loans, or how do I accept my financial aid? Everything is done through your EMISH account. So go to financial aid, off your student tab, award year, make sure you're selecting the right award year, and then click on the tab that says accept award offer. And then at that point, you can accept, decline, or adjust the amount of financial aid that you want. But just make sure you're checking the right award year. Remember, for fall, it's 2021. For summer, it's 1920. So maybe you're at a point right now where you've been offered loans for the fall semester, maybe even for summer, but you don't really know if you want to accept those loans because, you know, maybe you're going to start back to work in a couple weeks. And maybe you don't really want to borrow the loan, or your parents are going back to work on the 18th or the 11th, whenever some people are going back to work. So you're not really sure. So when is the last day that you can accept your loans? So our response to students when they ask us this is, you should accept it as soon as you know that you're interested in borrowing. However, if you don't know until mid-semester or even possibly late, the last date possible is 2 weeks prior to the end of the semester. So if we're looking at fall semester and you don't know if you want to accept the loan, you need to have for sure accepted that loan. I don't know when the semester ends exactly, but I would say by December 15th. And that's just a roundabout date. Again, I don't know exactly when the semester ends. I haven't even looked that far ahead, but it has to be at least 2 weeks prior to the end of the semester. If you don't accept it prior to that, we can't process a loan for that semester. So that's why you need to do it either as soon as possible or 2 weeks prior to the end. And I hope I didn't confuse anyone with that information. But okay, so why isn't my Parent Plus loan paying? This is a big question in the fall semester. So as you know, as students, we put a Parent Plus loan on your financial aid award account, and you can go in and accept it. But just by you accepting it does not mean that that loan is approved and everything is all set. Once you accept it, your parent actually has to go in and apply for the loan. They have to do entrance counseling for that loan, and they have to do a master promissory note for that loan. So there are some additional steps beyond just accepting it on your EMISH account that have to happen. And usually the main reason why a Parent Plus loan doesn't pay is because the parent hasn't completed the application process. So just keep that in mind when you're out accepting your financial aid. Make sure that if your parent wants the loan, make sure that you're accepting it on your EMISH account and having them apply. If they apply for it, but you haven't accepted it on your EMISH account, our reports aren't going to match up. So you have to accept it and they have to apply. So what happens if your parent is denied the Plus loan? Because it is a credit-based loan, it's not a guaranteed loan like the direct loans are for students. What happens if the parent is denied the Plus loan? If the parent is denied the Plus loan, we are able to offer you, the student, an additional unsubsidized loan. However, again, we won't be notified of the parent's denial of the Plus loan unless you accept it first on your EMISH account. So you have to accept it. The parent has to go through the application process. If they're denied, the Department of Ed notifies our office, and then that's when we put the unsubsidized loan on in an offered status through your EMISH account. And you will get an email, a general email from the Office of Financial Aid. Whenever we adjust any awards on your account, you'll get an email saying something has changed on your account. Go out and review it. So we're not going to email you directly and say, hey, we put the unsubsidized loan in an offered status, go out and accept it. It's just going to be a general email, and then you'll have to go out to your account and view it. So this is the major question that we've been receiving the last, I don't know, last month or so. What should I do if COVID has impacted my ability to pay for school? So right now, all that we can suggest to students is that if your income has changed significantly, and when I say significantly, our studies have shown that if your income has changed about 20% or more, that would be considered significantly. And you should look into filing a special circumstance form for loss of income. This form is available on our website, and it is an online form, so you can fill it out and attach the documentation to it and submit it online. What a loss of income appeal does is it will take a look at the income that is on your FAFSA versus the income that you have over a 12-month period now. If your income now is significantly lower than what was on the FAFSA, we can adjust your FAFSA based on the new numbers. And like I said, you have to supply, documentation, paycheck stubs, possibly W-2s, tax returns, but we're allowed to do it. So that is an option for students. So if your family's income has changed significantly, I would either contact our office if you're not sure what to do, call us or send us an email, and we'll give you some extra steps on that. We also have a webinar on Monday that is in conjunction with the admissions office that we are solely going to be talking about special circumstances due to loss of income. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, feel free to do that. We've got our links out on, I think Eastern Michigan University Facebook page has the link out there. And we'll also put information out on our EMU financial aid Facebook page. But if you haven't registered for it and you want more information, register for it so you can join us on Monday, where we are only going to talk about loss of income. Just one hint with the loss of income appeal, if you are already a 0 EFC, so you filed your FAFSA and your EFC is 0, you do not need to file a loss of income or a special circumstance appeal for loss of income, because we really can't do anything to make your EFC lower. It's already 0. We can't make it any lower. If you are still having trouble paying your bill, or you're concerned about fall and winter semester, I would say if you're a 0 ESC, reach out to our office and we can talk you through what your options may be. What do I do if, because of your change of income, you now need to go to a different school? So whether you were originally planning to go to Grand Valley and now Eastern is closer to home, so you are now going to go to Eastern and maybe you're going to commute instead of live on campus. What do you need to do if you are changing schools? The first thing you have to do is obviously apply to the new school. So get your application for admission into that new school. And then at that point, if you want to use federal financial aid at whatever new school, you have to add that school code to your FAFSA. So you're going to log into your 2021 FAFSA and add the new school code. So like Eastern is 002259. I don't know whatever your other school is, but if you want to add Eastern, you can either look it up by name or put the school code in. And then what happens is your FAFSA information is now going to be sent to that new school. The new school will pull it in, will review it, will package you with financial aid, just like your old school did. The process does take about 2 to 4 weeks for the entire process. So if you're thinking about attending another school, this is a process that you want to start prior, about a month, at least a month prior to their start time. So keep that in mind. If you do want to change schools, that you can still do it. You are not totally committed to one school right now. You can change your mind. You can go from Eastern to Washtenaw Lake if that's what is financially better for you. You still have time to make those changes. Of course, we want you to stay at Eastern. We want you, but your financial stability is important to us. Okay, so I've never applied for financial aid. How do I start? Is it too late to start? It's not too late. So this pandemic has affected a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And some people it hasn't affected at all. So everyone is going to be different. And if now you have decided that you do need to apply for financial aid, you can still do that. You need to visit fafsa.ed.gov to submit your aid application. Just a heads up, you will have to create an FSA ID, which is a username and password. You need to submit the application. You'll receive confirmation from the Department of Ed. And then your FAFSA information is going to be sent electronically to the schools that you list on the application. And then you'll be packaged with financial aid, and you will be notified from that school. Usually right now it's an email notification, but if you don't hear anything from the school, like if you don't hear anything from us, and it's been about a month since you've applied for financial aid, contact us, because I'm thinking something is wrong. And here's our contact information, our general financial aid inbox. We also have a box for scholarship questions, and we have an email address for specific loan questions. But you can send any question to the financial aid general inbox. You can also call us at 734-487-0455. Like I said, between the hours of 8 and 5, and we can answer any of your questions at that point as well. I think that is our final slide. Those are our final questions. And so now I'm going to open it up to Bill to see how many of these questions we have coming in that hopefully I can answer. And if not, Bill will help me out. So go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, if Steph, if you and I can assist with some of these questions I'm about to read off, hopefully we'll be able to provide resources for them to get those answers. But again, thanks everyone for hanging in there. I know we've got a lot of questions, and if you didn't hear anything back, then I was kind of flagging those so that we could use during this particular part of the program. But a lot of questions are still popping up about the EMU CARES grant. So Steph, the first one that I have, and this was a pretty good one, I was told I had to apply for FAFSA to be eligible for the CARES grant. Does that mean I will receive the grant simply by applying for the FAFSA, or do I have to be financially eligible for the grant?
Good question. It is our understanding that we just have to have a FAFSA on file. You do not, and our understanding is right. Just so that you know, you do not have to have a certain EFC. You can have zero need, period. Like you could actually pay your bill in cash. You're still going to be eligible for the CARES grant. We have to have a FAFSA on file though.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get it in.
Good, thanks. And I'm kind of going to be jumping back and forth maybe between CARES, and I know we've had a lot of GA assistant or grad assistantship questions and a couple other graduate specific financial aid questions, but this is another one. Are you considering reviewing fees for new students? The impact of the COVID-19 crisis is huge.
Yeah, so the Office of Financial Aid, I really can't answer that, and our office can't answer that because we don't assess fees to the students. We are not in charge of, you know, late registration fees. What is it? The Rec IM fee. Any of those additional fees associated with the university does not come through the Office of Financial Aid. What we can do, because we've had students ask, is we can take this information, like I can take it back to my boss, the director, whose name is Donna, and let her know that we've got a lot of students asking, and she can take that up to the higher level administration. But unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that, and simply because we don't determine those fees, not our office. So. And I'm not even sure that there is a general answer right now to that question, but it's definitely something that we can take and move higher up in the university and let them know that there's concerns about it. Because I absolutely agree. I know people have been affected greatly. So we'll take that forward. Bill, make a note of that, will you, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and yeah, we do understand, like, this is, you know, we're in uncharted waters now, and the email that you probably received for the president, like, we can't give specific answers because we just don't know where this virus is going to take us, or at least the whole epidemic is going to take us. So hopefully there's going to be some good news coming down the pike, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Another question we got, Steph, is another CARES grant question, and several students have asked, is this going to be available for the fall semester as well?
Again, we can't answer that. I wish we could, honestly, but right now it is just for the summer term. And that is all we've been told, is it's for students enrolled in summer semester. Yeah, I wish we had more information about the fall, but we just simply don't know. Our office does not know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
Yeah, nobody knows about that right now at this time. Hopefully, but we shall see. All right, moving on to Workstudy. How do we find Workstudy jobs that are telecommute? I am a commuter, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to drive to campus to work part-time when my classes are online. Thanks. There's the Workstudy question for you, Steph.
Right, and we did actually have a work study question come in via email, so I'm glad that this came up. Right now, the only way that I know of students being able to find work-study jobs are through the Handshake portal, through University Advising and Career Development Center. There are some offices that still have jobs available for students that they can complete work while they're at home. I don't think that there is a huge amount of jobs out there, but at least go out and look. I think EMU Engage was gonna be posting some out there, but I'm not really certain about that. But you have to go out to the Handshake portal. If you can't find anything through the Handshake portal, we really are kind of at a standstill right now. We don't know if the university is going to be open for the second part of summer semester. If the university is open for the second part of summer semester, you could get a job on campus. And I get that you're at home and you're commuting, but if we're open, you could get a job on campus. If we're not open, the university as a whole will have to look at our work-study funding and see what we can do. We have some options through the federal government on kind of supplementing work-study if the campus does not open. But we kind of are at a standstill on that because we don't know what's going to happen in the next month. So right now, the only way you can find a job, use your work study, is to go to the Handshake portal through UACDC and see if you can find a job that way.
Yeah, and to follow up on that stuff, there was another question about work study. You kind of touched on some of it, but this one particular student asked that she was approved for a work study grant in the amount of $2,500 for the summer, and if the campus isn't open, will that be transferred to a regular grant? I won't be able to pay for summer semester without it.
Mm-hmm. So generally, work study can never be transferred to a grant. However, during the pandemic and the emergency, we have been given an option that it is an option for us to change it to a federal grant. However, we are looking at all options right now, and if the university does open, we expect the offices on campus cannot run without student employees. If we give everyone a grant right now and we reopen, they will have no one to work for them. So we kind of have to keep those things in mind when we're looking at financial aid. But if for some reason the campus does not open, then I'm going to say that yes, we will look at other options of awarding students possibly a grant to kind of make up for that work study that they couldn't use. But right now, we are not doing that.
Yeah, and I just want to kind of jump into a lot of these questions, stuff. When we might sound kind of sketchy when we say we just don't know, but it really is the truth of the matter. And I'm sure as like you guys are following everything about the pandemic through the news and stuff, even the U.S. government doesn't know what's happening from day to day. So we do have to work closely with the U.S. Department of Education on guidelines for all this stuff that you're asking, and they're great questions. The uncertainty is real. We get that. We want to give you the best answers out there that are up to date, but we can only do that in a timely fashion. So once we know, we'll let you know. So those are good questions, and hopefully you'll hang in there with us during this unprecedented time, as they say. So we've also been getting some questions, stuff about GA positions. How will all of this affect GA grad assistantship positions?
I'm assuming for the summer semester or for fall. What do you think
It seems like fall that they're asking about.
Okay.
Probably both, I guess.
Yeah, I guess for fall, I would say, I guess your best bet is to contact the grad school directly. But I would guess for fall semester, if we're open, there should be no impact to your GA position. I guess depending on your position. I don't know every GA position out there, but I would say that we would probably try to be returning to normal business during the fall. For the summer, definitely check with the grad school and see if you have a summer graduate assistantship and check with them on it. But my guess is fall semester, it really should not be impacted unless we don't go back to campus for the fall semester, which I'm crossing my fingers, and I don't even really want to think about that option because I want to be back on campus. But if we are back on campus, nothing should be really different with your graduate assistantship.
Okay, good. There was one that came in via email that I just wanted to ask you, Steph. This particular student is in a flight program, and they have an Emerald Scholarship. Does that apply for flight fees or just class fees?
Right, so that is a good question. If we have any students in the flight program, your flight charges are billed separately through the Eagle Flight Center. They are not billed through the university. So if you have an Emerald Scholarship or a university scholarship, it is only going to apply to tuition and mandatory fees that are billed through the university. So while the Emerald can pay for your aviation class, like AVT, whatever, it cannot pay for your flight hours at EMU Eagle Flight Center. So it will pay for the tuition, but not the flight fees.
Good. Okay. Brian, someone who's on the webinar right now, he didn't ask a question, but he gave a tip that I think you guys might find helpful. He was mentioning that there are several free e-fax services that are available that would allow you to fax from your computer. And he provided a link to one called faxzero.com, FAXZERO.com. So I thought that was useful.
Thank you, Brian. That is very useful.
Good work. And then I think, let me see. There's still more. It's kind of weird, this little thing where I monitor the question. It's all scrunched up, so there's a lot of scrolling and stuff. So again, bear with me here. More Care Grant stuff. I think we answered that one. Hello, I'm an international student from Canada. Welcome, and am expected to start at EMU in the fall 2020. I have been offered a stipend as part of my admission. Will I still get my stipend if classes are online in the fall? I just flagged that one because I had no idea how to answer that one.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
So I am not sure. If whomever submitted that question, if you want to send your question to the general financial aid inbox, we can direct it to the proper office. I'm thinking this probably wouldn't be handled through the Office of Financial Aid. I'm kind of right off the top of my head, I'm either thinking third-party billing or student business services, but I'm not really sure. So if you want to email me that question or email us that question at the financial_aid@emich.edu, we can get an answer for you.
Okay, we're getting kind of down to the last several ones that I have, but this student has left the webinar, but they did have a good question. He says it's showing a $10,000 room and board, and I'm just reading exactly how he worded it, so it's not me blubbering this question. It's showing a $10,000 room and board, and I didn't even live in the dorms. I live off campus. Steph, do you want to maybe talk about how everyone has a room and board component of their cost of attendance?
Yeah, so I'm going to assume that the student is talking about their cost of attendance component and not really their financial aid award. So in the financial aid office, we are allowed, what we take into consideration is a typical student's average cost to attend college. So attending college isn't just the tuition and fees, right? You have tuition and fees, you have to eat, you have to stay in a place, you have to do laundry, you have to travel, you have personal expenses that you need to take care of. So you have, books that you have to buy. So we as a financial aid office, we have to take all of those things into consideration, and that's how we come up with your cost of attendance. So cost of attendance can vary whether you live on campus, whether you live off campus, or whether you commute. So I'm gonna guess that this attendee was actually kind of looking at his cost of attendance and sees that, okay, I have $10,000 for room and board, but I'm living off campus. Well, financial aid is still allowed to cover your off-campus expenses, or to take those into consideration when we package you with financial aid. So that's what we do. So we just kind of, everyone has a cost of attendance that applies for financial aid, and we take all of those things into consideration: tuition fees, room, board, books, travel, personal, and I think that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay, good. I believe this student is an early college alliance student, maybe, but she put transferring, quote unquote, this upcoming fall semester. If I have enough credits to be considered a sophomore, can I live in an apartment near or on campus my first year? I'll go ahead and answer that one, Steph, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I believe you would just want to contact housing on that, because we work in conjunction with them, but we don't know the answers to that. I think if you live within a certain radius, then you would be able to, but I would check with housing on that one. Let's see. I graduated this April 2020 and will be attending graduate school at EMU in fall 20. We already answered that about the CARES grant for the fall. We don't know yet.
Yep.
Another student asked, our fall class is going to be online. We don't know yet, unfortunately. We would love to see campus come back to life
Yes.
in some capacity during the fall semester. We miss you guys already, but we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, if it does, it'll be fight a nickel for every time they say the new normal, but it will be a new normal if we do open up, I would imagine, with a lot of social distancing going on and a lot of safeguards being determined by a panel at EMU.
In fact, we actually did just receive an email today from the president saying that they have started talks about what a fall opening will look like. There have been no decisions, no finals yet. They're just starting talks, and they are taking everything into consideration, and making sure they're looking at all information and keeping student safety as the main focus. So just so that you know, as students, they have started this process, but it's just in the beginning phases. And the President Smith has been doing a great job in keeping at least staff updated. I'm pretty sure he's probably sending emails out to students as well. So just read that information from him, and he does keep everyone up to date.
Okay. Well, there were a couple other questions that came in while I was kind of monitoring the flagged ones that I had. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of those. I know that there are a couple of scholarship questions that continue to trickle in. The best thing to do is to reach out to FA_scholarships at emish.edu. That's a great resource, and they're usually pretty quick about getting a response to you within 24 to 48 hours. So, I've seen several of those questions on here. Someone asked what entrance counseling is. It's basically something you'll have to do before your federal loan can pay. It's like an online training session for what a loan is and what your responsibilities are as a student loan borrower. So that's what that is. I have a FAFSA on file at Washtenaw Community College, and I'm transferring to EMU. How do I transfer the FAFSA? Basically, log on to your FAFSA and put in the EMU school code, which is 002259. It's a real simple process there. And then, Steph, I think we'll just wrap it up with someone with a question about the Game Above Award. I read there is a new Game Above Award to all new freshmen for $400. Will this affect student loans? Where is this money applied? Notice how I wasn't quick to answer that one.
Yes. So I have heard about this award as well. And it is my understanding that it does have to be considered as estimated financial assistance for all students that are getting it. So it is possible that we may have to reduce a loan on a student with this award, or because of this award. But typically with freshmen, and I don't have a final answer right now, but typically with freshmen, the award, if we have to reduce a loan, it's going to come out of the Parent Plus loan, and not your direct subsidized or unsubsidized loan. But yes, I have heard that all freshmen are getting a $400 award, and yes, from my understanding right now, it does have to be considered estimated financial assistance. So we do have to take that into consideration when we're awarding you financial aid. So that's all I've really heard of it right now. If anything changes, or if I get more information, you know, the financial aid office will try and keep students as updated as possible, but that's all I know right now. So I hope it helps. I know it's not a final, you know, in stone answer, but it's as best that I can give you at this time.
Excellent, great. And then Steph, I'm just going to kind of barrel through these last ones that kind of came in
Oh, okay.
kind of late.
I was like, I turned my camera on thinking we were gonna.
Oh, sorry.
Part ways.
I did. For those of you, really, I did make a good faith effort to get these questions answered for you, and I do appreciate everyone that came, and you guys have been fantastic with the questions. I have a headache from reading them, which isn't a bad thing, but the way this little widget is, I need a Tylenol. Anyway, they're great. But there's one about someone's asking about refunds. If you have any refund questions about how, like if your financial aid exceeds what you owe, then you want to contact Student Business Services. There was someone who was saying that someone got an email saying Eastern Michigan University has refund money waiting for you in the amount of such and such, but you haven't told us how to deliver it to you. That does sound legit, because if you don't have a refund preference set up, then the money's kind of sitting out there in outer space, so to speak. So you want to definitely establish one of those. Someone else,
So,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Bill. So to go on with what Bill said, when you get your EMU Eagles, your EMU student ID, you have to activate it. So when you activate it, setting up a refund option is one of the things that you need to do when you activate your student ID. If you didn't do it originally when you set up your ID, and now you've got this refund out there, all you have to do is log back in to your account through the student ID account, not through the eBill website, and click on the refund tab and set up your option that way. You can either get the money directly to the card, or you can transfer it into your own existing bank account.
Okay, good. Someone asked about the Teach Grant. There's more information about the Teach Grant on our website. You can explore that in more detail there. If you have any follow-up questions, you can email us. And I think that is really about it. There were a couple more that came in, and again, I think just in the interest of time, and I know it's been a good, it's been about an hour. So if you have any more questions, we just want to let you know that we are really accessible still, even during this whole work at home phase we're going through right now. So we're available via email. If you send an email to financial_aid@emich.edu, that question will be routed to the appropriate individual on staff to help you with your questions. You can also call us at area code 734-487-0455. The slide's up there. Thanks, Steph. And if the call rep can't directly address your question, then they'll make sure that it's sent out to the appropriate individual as well. So these are great questions. Sorry we couldn't get to them all. We were really surprised at the turnout. There's still 70 people sitting in the room right now, so we appreciate that again. And now that we know that there might be a demand for this type of thing, maybe we'll consider having more in the future stuff. Yeah, like I said, this was the first time we've ever done anything like this, and we do appreciate you showing up. It looks like we had about 122 attendees during the entire event.
If your question did not get answered, like Bill said, feel free to email our general financial aid inbox. We will actually, this has been recorded, this webinar has been recorded, and we are going to try and get it posted up on our website so that other people can view it, or if you want a refresher on anything, we can go over it at that time. But if you still think if there's a need for this, we will absolutely do it again. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here. We are all working very hard still to make sure that your financial aid is set for the fall, set for the summer. Your scholarship is on. All of our staff in the Office of Financial Aid are working from home, but they are working very, very hard. And we are ready to go back to the office. But again, thanks for attending. Thank you to the advisors who are on the back end, Andy, David, Jen, Kristen T. Thank you for answering questions and being available. And again, there is another webinar Monday that focuses solely on like loss of income and how to process that appeal. And if you can hop on, I think that's at 6 p.m. at night. So the time frame is a little bit different, but register and you'll get a link just like this one. But thanks again for attending and staying with us and submitting your questions. We had a great time and we hope you did too. So until later, we'll see ya.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.